Anna Marie on Twitter. Good morning, and thanks for sending your question through. Anna Marie's interested to know, how long do eagles last for? She was asking specifically for the fish eagle, and they do have long lifespans, these birds of prey, around 50 years, but it's very difficult to know the exact ages and to monitor wild specimens, and obviously wild specimens are the ones you want to be getting your research from, as captive animals will have a understandably different lifespan and usually a longer lifespan than wild animals. But around 50 years, and that does make sense. I mean, it takes between 5 and 8 years for a lot of these birds of prey to get their adult plumage and therefore become sexually mature. And if any of you would like to send more questions through to us, please do so. And to do it, you would hashtag Safari Live on Twitter, or send an email through to questions@wildearth.tv. Okay, time to continue. And we are gonna, we found some more elephants. And they look to be a playful bunch of adolescents that may give us a bit of attitude. Well, there's lots of elephants around the property today. I'm wondering if this isn't the same herd or part of the same large herd that we saw earlier. They were heading in this direction, so it could well be. The thing I love about elephants is that you can watch them for hours. They're permanently entertaining and doing something for us. Certainly one of the best members of the Big Five for quality viewing, regardless of what they are doing. I can hear a squirrel alarm calling in the distance, but it could be for that Bateleur eagle we've just left. But it's important for us to try and remember all these little clues that we hear along the way, in the hope that finally all the information will lead us to some of the more elusive characters that form part of our show. Or creating the next generation. But it could be that she's only coming into season or possibly going out of season, and that's why there are no bulls in attendance. There was one youngish bull, but I don't think he would meet her standards. We're going to leave these Ellies to continue their business. I am keeping track of their general movements, and they carry on in the direction they're heading, possibly pop out at the Djuma waterhole in the next half an hour or so. So it'll be worth tuning into the waterhole cab in about half an hour. about to arrive for the third time this morning. But things change out here, and the first time we went there was just a hippo there. The second time we went there was a hippo and a fish eagle. And now maybe the third time, lucky, we will have a hippo, a fish eagle and a leopard. It's a crisp and quite cool morning, and the road we are heading down now, which leads us to Treehouse Dam, is called Savage's Track. For those of you who like to keep tabs on where we move, well, it's still in the same place where we left it. So an unsuccessful morning fishing so far, but fishing is a patience game for humans and for fish eagles. Absolutely beautiful now that the morning sunlight has broken through some of the clouds. Can hear a lot of parrots calling nearby. I'm trying to see where they are, and I'm just going to reposition the vehicle. Maybe they're on the water's edge drinking. There's a few of them calling around us. Where are you little critters hiding? No sign of the leopard either, so it appears like we are going to have to enforce plan B, which is going to be to go and look for shadow and a young male cub. There's the parrots, just in amongst the weaver nests. Yeah. We don't often get you very good visuals of these birds, so this is one of the better ones. And now you get to see the parrot that I so often point out when we hear its shrieking call. And it's the only parrot we get in this area. It's sitting amongst a bunch of weavers' nests. The nests are no longer in use, and the weaver birds nest in the summer over December and January. Absolutely beautiful. I'm going to try and get closer. In winter, the birds allow us a lot closer to them because they are more inclined to stay where they are and warm themselves in the sunlight. Beautiful. Learn to fly off. I wonder where the other parrot is that he's talking to. There were two calling earlier. We can only see one now.
There it is. Over the tree.
Oh, well spotted, VM. That'll explain it. Right. right here. It could well be a mating pair. They are monogamous and breed for life, the brown-headed parrots. And the brown-headed parrot is the one on the bottom right. We do get another 2 parrots in the Greater Kruger National Park, the grey-headed and the mayers, but they occur further north into the park and are not as numerous as the brown-headed. Okay, well, glad we got that close-up view of a beautiful, beautiful bird that we typically don't get to show you very close. And now we continue. Brent, come in. Brent, just to let you know, last tracks I had of this young male, he was heading south on Weaver's Nest, and just north of Kangal and Track he veered towards Treehouse Dam, but he hasn't popped out here yet. I'm going to go and follow up around Zebra Drive. Okay, copy. Also, just to let you know, I did check Weaver's Nest along the break to Twin Dams in the Milwaukee. There was no sign of him there when I went. So, just keeping in touch with Brent. He's now on the southeastern part of Djuma. An impala just ran across the road there. And it seems to be a bachelor herd of young males. That are probably distancing themselves from the rutting chaos that the bigger sexually mature males will be getting involved in at this time of the year. Competing for the females very intensely for basically the month of May. It varies slightly from year to year, but it's often the first full moon in May that triggers the start of the rutting season. I'm very surprised we haven't found a kill of a male impala. They do become easy targets for the predators when they are so caught up in their disputes with other males and their intent on mating. Michigan, good morning and welcome. Lynn has asked me whether I've ever seen a baby elephant being born, and Lynn, sadly not. That would be incredible. I have, however, seen the reaction of a herd of elephants shortly after an elephant had given birth. I'm not sure how long after, possibly an hour or two after one of the cows would have given birth. I arrived at a waterhole And the initial thing that I saw was quite interesting, because there was about 6 or 7 large adult elephants all facing head to head in a very tight circle. And immediately I thought, well, what's going on here? Because I'd never seen this formation before, really, literally head to head, 6 or 7 adult cows. And on closer inspection, they all had their trunks underneath the baby elephants, and they were helping to keep it up on all fours, and they're all very interested in it and sharing the joy. Sorry, I'm not sure what I heard there. Sharing the joy of this new birth. But really incredible to have that many cows all very delicately holding up a very newborn baby that could hardly stand with their trunks. So that's the closest I've been. And if we rewind 22 months back, before an elephant would give birth, to the mating, I've seen that twice, and that is a spectacle to behold. It looks like a double-story house making love, basically, because the large bulls, when they perch themselves on top of the cows, they stand meters up in the air, and is a really, really cool thing to witness, but that I've only seen twice. We are getting closer to where Shadow and her cub were allegedly moving at some point. I haven't got a very clear update as to what exactly they were doing, but it's still good information to know that they were in that general area, and we'll go and snoop around, see if we can find any tracks, hear any alarm calls. Failing that, I'm hoping that Brent has some luck finding something. He seems to be more in the zone than me at the moment, and I think it's a good call that he's made to leave the lines. It's been a great sighting there, but we need some help finding some other animals for you, so that's what he's up to at the moment as well. Copy those. Some tracks of a civet crossing the road. I was just double checking to see whether they were not the tracks of a honey badger. They're such awesome animals, honey badgers. We see them very seldomly here, and it's not likely that we would see them during the day, but just to double check and know that there was one moving in the area would be a good thought and good to know. Question through from Molly on Twitter. Good morning, Molly. Molly's interested to know whether the female elephant can decide who she mates with. And yes, she certainly will have a say in the matter, because if she doesn't want to, she'll continually just run away from any male. But when they are in season, they will be interested by the thought of mating, and she will have a say in the matter. There's no doubt about that. What will often happen is that several males will... Okay, good news. We've got male leopard tracks. It must be a different male. to the one that we were tracking earlier, possibly the brother. But yay, we've got hope for finding a leopard. His tracks came along the road and then onto this other road that we've just turned onto now, and they are just, actually we might be able to show them to you. Got them there, dude. So here are the fresh male leopard tracks. Morning. How are you doing? Very good, thanks. And yourself? Good. Just leopard tracks.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Have a good day. Thanks. So they're the tracks heading down the road. I can tell that a young male because of the size and also the fact that they're quite rounded. Come on, leopard, where are you hiding? Still continuing down the left-hand side of the road. Now it gets confusing because he was up and down here, but there are two tracks. Oh no. What are you doing, Mr. Leopard? The tracks are heading up and down here, and I can see that the track that's heading back looks fresher than the track that's going forward, which makes things a little bit confusing for me. Just give me a second or two, and maybe what we should do is link back to Brent and get an update on what he's been up to, and that way Vim and I can have a closer look and work out exactly what this leopard's doing, and we'll get back with an update a little bit later.
Welcome back, everyone. So you can see weather's changed nicely, nice and sunny. We're just checking through the area around Treehouse Dam, and then I was thinking we might head up towards the hyena den, have a look if there's anything happening there. But welcome back, and nice to have you with us. For those of you who might have joined a bit late, we have been within Kahuma Pride for the majority of the morning. They've been feeding on a young hippo that they've killed. Then as it got warmer, they started to get very flat cats, and they stopped sort of playing and showing a lot of nice interaction. So we decided to see what else we can find for you guys. So let's see what else is out there this morning. Guys, I was really impressed with everyone. How many people got that Shelley's Franklin correct this morning? Well done. That was really, really great. So for those of you who might have missed, while we're sitting with the lions, I heard a Shelley's Franklin calling. And the way my grandfather told me how to remember that was to drink a beer, to drink a beer, to drink a beer. And so it stuck, and it looks like it stuck with you guys as well. Hi Dennis from Spain, welcome on the Sunrise Safari. Dennis would like to know why we don't see that many vultures in this area of the Sabi Sands. Dennis, vultures are, unfortunately, in this area, the numbers have declined over the last few years. There's a couple of different reasons for that. Oh, look, there's a big kudu ball on the other side of the drainage line. So, Dennis, what's happened is that in traditional medicine, quite a few things like vultures are used extensively in traditional medicine, in the sort of more witchcraft side of it. And if you eat the eyes of a vulture, you are said to be able to see into the future. And so it happens that they are poisoned around carcasses from time to time. That is not the reason we don't have a lot of vultures in the Sabi Sands at the moment. The reason is that there are vulture restaurants, probably about 70 kilometers from here. And those vulture restaurants put out food for the vultures, so they tend to go there rather than having to look for it. But it is, on occasion we do get lots of vultures here. Also with that hippo carcass this morning, it was a bit small, and I think I'm pretty sure that just the vultures didn't spot it. We do see vultures flying over quite regularly. Excuse me. Sorry, I just need to listen to the radio. There's a nice kudu bull. There's actually a couple of kudu. I saw, if you go to the left slightly, right, and then zoom in, actually you can't really see her. There's a, and just pick up a female's ears in the middle of that bush there. You can just see her, she's lying down. Here we go, bottom of the shot at the moment. There we go, center shot, you can see there she is, ruminating. There's the male to the right with an oxpecker on his back. Also ruminating. The reason there are these vulture restaurants is because the vulture population took quite a dip in the last 20 years. So that's just a way of trying to build up the population again. And hopefully in the years to come we'll stop needing vulture restaurants to keep the vulture population stable. So one of the big problems that faces vultures is the poisoning of carcasses. And a lot of the vultures who died in the last 20 years were poisoned inadvertently by farmers who were actually trying to poison predators that were killing their livestock. So, but the unfortunate thing with using something like poison is it has no discrimination. It kills absolutely everything. Sibusiso from Hobbenskraal, just outside Pretoria. Sibusiso would like to know, he's heard that there's a plant that snakes are allergic to, and do I know about that plant and do we have it in the Sabi Sands? Sibusiso, I've never heard of any plant that snakes are actually allergic to. But I hear you've given a name there called a Tilburgia. I'm not sure about it, but I will definitely have a look when I get home and try to see if I can find any truth in that statement. But I've personally never heard of any plant that snakes are allergic to. In some traditional sort of folklore, I've heard that plants are said to ward off snakes, but I think those are more stories than actual truths. But it'd be very interesting to find out if there was actually a plant that snakes were allergic to. That would be very, very interesting, and I'd really like to know why the snakes would be allergic to, maybe not allergic to, or just stay away from. Very good questions, so I'll definitely try to find out a bit more about that. Slowly making our way towards the hyena den. I think it's time for a little game. Let me think of a good question for you guys. And the Shellies you guys did so well on. I think I'm gonna have to make it a bit tougher. Bit tougher. Oh. Okay, let's think now. What do you think, Brian? Should be animals, plant, or bird?
Let's go for plants.
Let's go for plants. Okay, plants it is. That's too easy. That's too easy. That's definitely too easy. Plants and grasses. I think grasses we might be getting a little bit too tough on the grasses. See, and the thing is, I don't really want to ask something I haven't taught before. Oh, this is there we go. Spot on. There we go. Is that okay there?
Move back a little bit. Yeah, there we go.
Okay, quite a pretty little flower we got here. See the white. There's the actual flower itself. And these purple are not actually, they're just leaves, the purple on top. The white flower, if you open the seeds and you crush them, really nice aromatic smell that comes from them. Something like a smell, here we go, Brian, you might find in your kitchen. You can cook with this. I've cooked with this many times. I've used it on lamb. I've used it on...
It's delicious.
It is. You can even eat the leaves if you want.
Yeah.
You want to try one? Here we go. So I've used it on lamb. I've used it in salads. It is a really nice little plant, and the reason we've got this nice flower and stuff that's just come out again is because of that late rain we've had that has caused this to have a late sort of sprout. Very nice one. So who can tell me what this is? You can send your answers to questions@WildEarth.tv or just use the hashtag SafariLive on Twitter. Last station, please go again. Copy, thanks very much. You know what road I haven't done in an age is Rebecca's. I cannot actually remember the last time I took it. So why don't we take a gander, go there that should take us up to the hyena den. Still got that lovely taste in my mouth. So even though the sun's out, this is still quite a cool morning. I'd probably guess temperature's risen to around 20 degrees Celsius. So if I remember correctly, it's about 70 odd Fahrenheit. really nice thing about this weather dropping quite a bit and getting it colder. You notice I'm not swatting myself consistently anymore. It seems like the cold weather might have slowed the flies down a bit, which is very, very good for me at least. I can stop beating myself up twice a day on game drive. Doesn't sound like anyone's got it right yet. We've had rosemary and sage, which is not correct. But you are on the right track. It seems like we're having a little leopard drought on Djuma at the moment. I know Scotty's been following up with some tracks, but I haven't seen any tracks, and I've covered quite a big distance today already. So I wonder where they're all hiding. Are they in the drainage lines with a nice big impala up a tree? Or if they're gone visiting friends somewhere else? I'm sure they're around. We're just going to have to figure out where they are. Hopefully we will find some. Oh, we've got some jokers out there. It said rosemary with a hint of buttered popcorn, implying that Brian and I just ate a plant that a leopard urinated on. No, it's not rosemary, but come on guys, I thought this one would be quick and easy. And we're not going to get much more opportunities to do flowers as we go into the dry season. There's very few flowers that are flowering in the dry season, and this late little bit of rain will give us a few wildflowers to look at. I'll keep checking. We had that roadside pimpernel the other day. Oh, we've got another answer in, but it's mint. No, not mint, I'm afraid. Gee, guys, I thought you'd get this by now. No, it's not time either. George in Illinois, well done. It is wild basil, one of the Onicum species. George Ann, sorry. Well done, George Ann. Wild basil. Now, I just saw a head pop into this termite mound. Oh, there we go. Here we go, little heads popping up. With one of my favorite little critters, a dwarf mongoose. The smallest member of the carnivore family in Africa. So you can hear me making all sorts of funny noises. I'm just having a chat with the mongoose, so they pop their heads out of the holes and come have a look at us, like that one's doing there now. So this termite mound looks like to be one of their main homes. The reason I tell that is if you go just a little bit to the right there, Brian, you can see the dung. Let's zoom in on the midden. So you can see the dung midden there. And that's a good sign that this is not just a bolt hole that they use in emergencies while they're moving around. This is actually probably one of their main sort of residents. And Brian and I were actually talking while you guys were with Scotty how nice it would be to see some dwarf mongoose this morning, and especially because it's been quite cold, they were going to always be getting up a little bit later. And when you find them at their sort of home, they quite often nice bask in the sun and have a little chat and do some greeting. There we go, King of the Castle, checking us out. Oh, no, 3, 4 popping out of that same hole. Wonderful little guys. Agit is the Zulu name for them.
6 now.
6. It's a pile of mongoose. Oh, the sun's gone away. They fell back down the hole. They're trying to bask, get some nice early morning warmth. Oh, so many. So, I know I have asked this question before, but who can remember what the collective noun, original collective noun for mongooses is? Mongoose. Jeez, I'm having a whale of a time here. What is the original collective noun for mongoose? You can send your answers to questions at WildEarthTV, or you can just use the hashtag Safari Live on Twitter. So how's that? This morning we've seen the biggest African carnivore and the smallest African carnivore. See, they're getting a lot more used to us. Now, the reason they all jumped into the hole there, looked a bit nervous, there was an aeroplane flying over, and obviously for an animal like a dwarf mongoose, most often death comes from above in the terms of predatory birds, which are probably the biggest threat to them. So they're very, very active and alert and watching the sky. Well, Virginia would like to say, guess how many mongooses are in the hole? Oh, Virginia, that is an interesting question. You see that one coming out now? He's coming to find a little bit of sun to bask in, I think. Warm up before heading out in the day's foraging. I think the most we've seen is 7 at the moment. But I'm probably sure there's probably between 7, we know for sure, and maybe even up to 20 in this group. Their average size for a group, I'm not going to give it away, of mongoose is about 15 to 20. You can see they've now completely relaxed to us, not worried, coming out of the hole, sitting out in front, catching some rays. They're playing King of the Castle. I must say, I like the mongoose's plan. Sitting here with the sun on my back's really, really nice. After being chilly most of the morning. So he's watching the sky. Even when the starling flies over, very quick to look skywards. Make sure that there isn't a predatory bird around. They are very cute. Watching this guy, every time you can hear the starlings calling, every time the starling flies off. They have a very similar social structure to meerkats, not quite exactly the same, but you'll have sentries. So this guy's sitting up high while the others are still coming out of the hole. He's acting as a lookout. Quite sure there's probably another lookout on the other side of the termite mound that we can't see. Just making sure that the group is safe. I've done it before where I've given away the answer by accident while talking about it, so I'm not going to do that today. Also, such great photography subjects, especially if you sit quietly like we've been doing for a while. They get very relaxed around you, as you can see.
Standing by. So I'm looking for Brent, but a general update. Last tracks I had of this, my daughter Ingwe, are on Zoe's where tele access.
Sorry guys, just listening to the radio.
It's going to go shortcuts. It could be the same male that was seen drinking at Gari Dam at 5 a.m. and then continued south on Weaver's Nest from there. I'm still following up.
Standing by, Scott.
Just to let you know, I could be tracking the same leopard that was reportedly seen at Gari Dam at 5 a.m. The last track was okay, copy.
A business next to the safe spot. I'm going to keep an eye out for it now. But they cross the open ground at quite the speed. They don't like being away from an area where they can hide. Oh, there we go. Some nice grooming. See, like most social predators, it's very important for that sort of bond and trust to be between the animals. We can hear the ones that have moved off to the next spot shouting much better. Where are the rest of you? Very high-pitched sort of calling the rest of them, saying, come guys, we need to get moving. It's time to eat. Oh, look at the one climbing the tree. There we go. Getting a nice perch. Hi Liz, welcome on the Sunrise Safari. Liz would like to know were there any meerkats in this area. No Liz, meerkats only live in the dry, arid areas of South Africa, Namibia and Botswana, and so to the west of us, this area, there are no meerkats. Their ecological role is filled by dwarf and banded mongoose in this area. So they fill the same sort of role as a meerkat would in the desert areas, in the bushveld area. You can see that sentry relations obviously, but they do fall under the same family as in a cow and a buffalo are related. They will share ancestry. or itchy tail. So these guys are going to getting ready to move to the next sort of island of safety. There we go. You ready? Just come off to the left a little bit, Brian. You see those two small, there we go, he's off, doof, doof, sorry. A little bit late warning you. But I'll keep an eye out, because they seem to go right under to the edge there, and then they sort of doop, 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 like leap across the gap to the next sort of fallen down tree. You can see there's a lot of sentry going on, so that the one sitting up high on the branch, he's watching for everyone else. There he is, making sure there's no predatory birds around, keeping an eye out while the others move from their sort of home base out to the next sort of safe area so they can start foraging. I'm just going to try catch one of them. There we go. Oh, you got him, Brian. Chop, 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 you see? And then off to the next island of safety, while one stays back and keeps a watch for predatory birds. So that's how they move between little thickets and areas where they feed. And also, if one of the sentries had to give an alarm call to notify them that there was a predator around, they would all literally bolt for the closest safe hole. Nice camera work there, bro. Would definitely be a very big threat to them. You can see how he's looking up, making sure to see maybe if he's spotted. And what's amazing is that you can see it looking up, and he can tell the difference, or she, I'm not sure whether it's a male or female, that one, between a vulture and a bird of prey that actually might be a threat. So it'll look up, see a vulture, go, okay, it's chilled, not going to try eat me. But then when a tawny eagle or African hawk eagle is another really big predator of them, comes flying past, he immediately recognizes and will give the alarm call so the rest of the business can get to safety. Starting to warm up quite nicely now. Hey, 1 second there, I'm just trying to get my jacket off. Hi, Anna Marie. Thanks very much for your question. Anna Marie would like to know whether the prairie dogs in the American Southwest belong to the same family as the mongoose. I don't think so. I think, as far as I understand, prairie dogs are rodents. So they, whereas a dwarf mongoose is a carnivore. So. So how many have we counted so far? We got the original 6, but I think I'd probably say it's comfortable to say there's probably 15 to 20 individuals in this little business. to know that we've got this den here that's used very regularly, judging from all the scat and stuff around. So we definitely might have to visit this again sometime. Drea on Twitter. Drea would like to know, do dwarf and banded mongoose businesses clash and fight each other for territory? Not really. The banded mongoose is so much bigger that it would definitely push the dwarf mongooses away. So what you find normally is the dwarf mongoose will live in a more arid, slightly more arid area up here on the creek. Drier areas, the dwarf mongoose is more common. So guys, I hope you've had fun. Time. Great way to start with the lions, get them feeding, get them playing around a little bit, but the leopard drought continues. Have to work a little bit harder to rectify that, but it's been great being with you all, and for myself and Brian, we're going to hand you over to Scott now. Hope to see you all on the Sunset Safari, and have a wonderful day or night wherever you are in the world, and it's been great having you with us.
Welcome back, and good to hear that you were enjoying some time with one of the smallest carnivores we get out here in Africa, the dwarf mongoose. And when they are relaxed and allow you close by, they're awesome animals to watch. So really happy that Brent found that interesting sighting for you. The leopard tracks have been taking us around in circles today, literally. And then cut south from there. It could be that they're the two brothers working into similar areas, but hard to tell for certain. So whether it was two leopards or one leopard, we're not sure, but it could have been one, judging from where those tracks ended. We followed them for about 2 miles from where we found them until very close to Djuma Dam, and there was a report this morning of a leopard seen at Djuma Dam at around 5 a.m. which were the initial tracks I thought we were following away from the dam, south from the dam. And what myself and Brent might do is come for a short walk after the drive and have a look in this block. Maybe this leopard's made a kill here, because I've been back to Treehouse Dam again and there's no sign of it coming out there, and that was the direction its last tracks were taking him in. It's time to go and have one last look, because that is all that I can think of doing. don't mind cleaning up after elephants. They can make as much of a mess as they like, especially after the wonderful sighting we had of a large herd of elephant this morning. I did also head past Djuma Dam a little bit earlier as the leopard tracks took us in that direction. There was no sign of this herd of elephant coming out there, so maybe they've changed direction or are still on the way there. But when we last saw them in this area, they were heading straight towards the Djuma waterhole. Question through from Catherine in Texas. Hello and welcome. And the yellow-billed stork, which we see very rarely. The white storks, which do come out to Africa from Europe, nest when they are in Europe, mainly in Germany, I think. They just come to Africa for a summer holiday. The resident storks will certainly nest somewhere here, Kathy. I'm just not sure of the whereabouts of their nests. And you'll find most of the birds have finished with their nestings. And going into the winter, it's not likely to have many birds nesting, although certain birds do realize that there's less competition for nesting sites in the winter. And the lilac-breasted roller is one of those birds. They don't typically compete in the summer for nesting cavities within trees. They'll wait until all the other birds have done their nesting and then they'll start, which is quite clever. If you can get it in that gap there. Well, this isn't something you see every day. A big male kudu lying down chewing the cud. And it is when they are spending time chewing the cud. A lot of the ruminants are basically sleeping. A lot of the animals out here don't have the luxury of passing out like we do as humans. And they have to remain conscious of their surroundings, but in this very effectively the leaves that they've been browsing on. Some downtime for this big old boy. And it was in that same spot that Stefan and myself found Kunyumoro quarantine just the other day. And interesting to now see a kudu lying there. Testing my comms. So go again with that. Come here, thank you. Okay, well there's just a couple of minutes left until the end of the sunrise drive, and I hope you've all enjoyed yourself. I certainly have. And even though it is the 5th drive now in a row that I have yet to find what I'm looking for, that's all part of the adventure, and I certainly am looking forward to hopefully finding you all a leopard to look at this afternoon. I may have to go out between drives and see if we don't have any more luck doing that. But thankfully, Brent's hard work tracking down the lions yesterday has paid off and made for some great viewing. Good at some point, but the luck hasn't been with us today. Certainly we'll probably start the afternoon drive in this area, because hopefully the leopard would have come to drink, or who knows, maybe I'm completely wrong and it's headed in another direction. Anyway, we'll just leave you with the blacksmith plover looking for some insects as the